It's Cofield and Company's Eye on Sports Gambling, presented by Oasis Bar and Grill, only on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
All right, here we go this Tuesday. Alex Light's in. It's Cofield, Griffin as well. Sammy P is here. College basketball to get to, college football, CFP rankings coming up, and what will the players do against the books, all on the table. What's up, buddy?
Well, I didn't hear the books cry poor this week because the Dogs went 11-3 ATS. So you didn't hear the cheers from Ed Salmons, Tony Miller, Chris Bennett. You didn't hear the cheers. Okay. Not yet. Not yet.
All right. I can tell you some are complaining about the Heisman race, which we'll get to. Can I throw something in, a little oddball deal here? Because I haven't seen anyone tabulate some numbers, but I would love to see what, as an example, the BetMGM in Ontario made on the presidential election. I wonder what position they really had and if they got a big win with Trump or they just balanced the action.
So we had Patrick Everson on the morning show last week, and he actually said that the book in Ontario was rooting for Kamala Harris because they wrote some pretty big bets leading into the election. I believe it was like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday on Kamala Harris at plus 190, plus 170, plus 150. So as you know, Steve, the plus money bets add up more than the minus money ones do.
Yeah.
They were rooting for Kamala to win. Did not quite happen. Wasn't really that close. And I can tell you this, I had a really, really sharp guy who bets offshore pretty nice. He bet Trump at 4-1 to win the popular vote, which I think if you watched any news network, nobody really thought was possible.
No.
But for him to pull that off, and I think he bet about 10,000, so he netted 40,000 on Trump winning the popular vote. But I do know that, a lot of the ancillary markets, like the state-by-state markets, and, will this state go red, this state go blue, those were pretty okay. But they actually, at the end of the day, the books were rooting for Kamala Harris to pull it off because of those plus money bets that came through at the end.
So let's talk about the Heisman because I just referenced it. Travis Hunter, I don't think is good for the books. If he wins, I don't think it, because they had some lofty odds on that dude way back when.
Yeah, he was 30-1 in the summer, and I wish I would have bet a piece of that. So I got involved about 8-1. 6-1. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, actually longer than that. We might have talked about it on this show about 6 weeks ago because I had a buddy who's a Heisman voter who said, look, if they win 8 games, I'm voting for him. And I thought, kind of makes it move a little bit. So now, they're sitting at a very nice number, that they have a very attainable schedule. It's not very difficult. He's playing 100 snaps a game. He catches a touchdown, plays 100 snaps against Texas Tech. And, I watched that whole game, Steve. They're not even throwing to his side of the field when he's on defense. So he might not have the numbers or the interceptions or the deflections, but he erases the whole side of the field that he's on defense. And, there's a very real possibility Colorado wins out. It's not that impossible. He's even money right now. One book has a minus 110. Somebody asked me the other day, is there value on Travis Hunter? Not really, considering he was 30-1. But if he stays healthy, plays 100 snaps a game, and Colorado wins 2 of the next 3, which they should because they're favored in 2 of the next 3, he's going to win. Like, there's no dominant quarterback. Gabriel's been good. He hasn't been great. He's on a really good team. He hasn't been great. Sam Ward slips up. Unfortunately for Genty, they're going to compare him to Barry Sanders, which he'll never meet. Everything is lining up for Travis Hunter. And to your point, that would be not ideal for the books who were dealing him at 30-1. And then a month into the year, he's 12-1 and then 8-1 and then 5-1. And, last week he was, 455-1. Now he's even money. That would not be good for the books if he wins.
Let's talk about the betting market this week and moving ahead for college football. I know Alex wants to get to BYU here in a second, but I'll start off with I don't know if this is truly a play-in, but obviously it's a very dangerous spot for both teams with a loss. And Georgia, I guess, picked here as they better win, is -10 against Tennessee.
So the rumor now is that Nico Imalavieva has a concussion. That is the latest rumor from gambling circles, and I guess that makes sense. I mean, he got rocked in the game last week, and they brought the backup in. So that's sort of where we're at this point in time on a Tuesday night. I think Nico might play, but I mean, his eggs are scrambled, if that makes any sense. So we'll pay attention to that all week. Sharp money came in 8.5 and 9. So while it might be a perceived big number on Georgia, wise guys laid it. They laid 8.5. They laid 9, out to 9.5, almost 10. Nico in concussion protocol, whether he plays or not, is he efficient? I don't know. And look, Ole Miss, I think the problem with this conversation is that we are not paying Ole Miss enough respect. We look at that Georgia loss and go, oh, that's a tough loss. Well, they'll bounce back, and they might, but two teams really rised up in terms of stock. Alabama was 18-1 to win the title. You could find them 8-1 now. Ole Miss was 35-1 to win the title. You're lucky to find a 10-1 now. I'm more impressed with Ole Miss than I was unimpressed with Georgia, and Tennessee's been okay. But if Nico's banged up and concussed, he's not the same Nico, and clearly that's not the same team as Tennessee was early in the season when they were beating Kent State and Boo-Foo State and Steve Cofield Tech. The schedule has gotten tougher, and ironically enough, they have not played as they did early in the season.
Before we get to BYU, Sammy, any other quarterbacks that we should keep our eye on for this weekend that might be questionable?
Yeah, so Lagway's big for me, Alex, at Florida. I have no idea if he's in or out. We talked about this on Bet the Gambit and also on this show. I didn't think Lagway was going to play. I'm not exactly sure right now. Nico's a big one for me. And also big for me is the quarterback at USF, Byron Brown. I don't expect him to play, but if he does, that line is going to move. So, certainly that's an unexpected addition to the fold. But if they rule Byron Brown in at USF, that number is going to move. The biggest one for us coming into the week was Taylor Green at Arkansas. So Arkansas plays Texas. And I think Circa opened Texas -15. That got bet right away, right through the 14. And then Sam Pittman, the Arkansas coach, came out and said he expects Taylor Green to play. So that's not exactly, breaking news. I mean, the coach has already said he expects Taylor to play. So the big one for me, Lagway is a huge one. And then with Nico at Tennessee, is he concussed or not? Those would be the three: Arkansas, Tennessee, and Florida.
All right, let's get to BYU. And I don't hate BYU. I'm not, wanting them to lose like some other people. But we were on Utah last week. Knew it was a tricky
like
spot.
Some other people.
And now they've got Kansas. And Kansas has kind of turned things around. They've won 2 of the last 3. Do you like this spot for Kansas? Are you taking the points, or you think they can win outright here against the Cougars?
It kind of sounds like she hates BYU, doesn't it?
No, I think she was making reference to me and many others on the station and in this market. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Well, I don't want to speak for Alex. I never would do that. Look, yeah, we all took a piece of Utah. They were +4, 3.5, and I love the AD after the game. So we got cheated. I think it's pretty hefty fine. I only have BYU as the 26th team in the country right now. So I'm not high on them. I have not been high on them. Did you bet Kansas, Alex? Did you do that yet?
I have not bet it yet. I actually have BYU a pretty big favorite this week over Kansas. So I don't know if I am going to jump in there. After that win and then having to come back to secure that win over Utah, it seems like a spot that you could.
Yeah, it makes sense. Utah is as offensively challenged as maybe any team west of the Mississippi. They have a really good defense. I like their coach a lot. There's a lot of things I like there, but their offense is just putrid. If Kansas can do anything, I think it would be a really nice test for them. But I don't know exactly what they're going to do on offense. Like, that's my big concern for Kansas. Like, they lost their OC to Penn State. They've had an up and down season, and they had a really nice win against Iowa State. We all applaud that.
Yes.
But I think for BYU, like, beating Utah doesn't impress me. It just doesn't. So I'm anti-BYU until further notice. I could get burned on that, but that's where I'm at.
NFL spot. We have a show bet where I took the Bears plus the 6, but Packers 6 against the Bears. There's not a whole lot of folks running to the windows or to their phones to bet the Bears.
Oh man, like my phone the last 2 days has just been nonstop. Texts like this: "Hey, Sammy P, how do I not bet the 401k on Green Bay?" And I'm thinking, oh God, like this is how addiction happens.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the number in the summer in this game. And you remember, Steve, Chicago's at home. Chicago in the summer is a 1-point favorite. The look ahead at the Superbook is Green Bay minus 2.5. Now we're almost at 7. That's a huge number. And look, Caleb has sucked, obviously, but it's funny to me. Like, you think the books aren't aware?
Right.
The books aren't aware. Like, the books are watching the games more than we are. So if I could get 7 with Chicago, I would saute that plus 7. I have gotten multiple texts in the last 48 hours. How do I not bet everything I own on Green Bay? And that's never a good sign in the NFL, if you know what I mean.
Yes. College basketball. We're tracking Michigan State and Kansas. 12 minutes left, 41 up. Actually, Kansas just took a 43-41 lead. Duke and Kentucky are going at it. Now the number is 5.5 Duke. What are you doing?
Yeah, I bet 6. I would still bet at 5.5. Kentucky has, for the first time in a long time, experience. Mark Pope, the head coach, formerly at BYU, which you know very well. He brought a lot of transfers in, got an upper-class team. They're very talented. They're playing well together. They're very physical. Duke's good. Duke's going to be awesome down the stretch, but I think this is a tough test for them. Duke is one of the youngest teams in the country. Kentucky, for the first time in a long time, is actually old. 5 of their 6 guys that play are seniors. So I like Kentucky in the spot. I took 6. Yes, I would take 5.5. That tips off in about an hour here on the East Coast. But I do like Kentucky tonight, but I'll tell you what, Duke is going to be a problem in the tournament. Duke is going to be very, very good once these young flowers start to bloom in Chapel Hill.
Sam, we appreciate it, buddy. Good luck tonight. I hope you win.
All right. Thanks, all. See ya. Mostly
because you're betting against Duke. So I can be a fan, but it's also why I don't bet a whole lot, because I don't want to get emotional on bets. And, I may not like BYU. I like what they're doing to upset the apple cart. That number's too low in that football game. BYU and Kansas, too low. It's too low. They should be laying more.
Yeah.
How big did you make it?
8 at home. Yeah.
There's the odds makers have had a pretty healthy disrespect for BYU. And yet the angle of, the emotion of beating Utah and now, having to calm down and then get amped up. Yeah, I just don't like Kansas in the spot. Sorry, it's too short. I need more points.
Yeah.
Join Cofield.